Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
I am a working man, I get things done. Work for the Holy Ghost, work for the Son. I am a working man, oh yes I am. I am a special agent of the Lamb. Now,
And you're listening to Live from the Path, coming from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper. It's just whiz-bang beautiful to be with you on this balmy summer evening here in the year of our Lord, 2026, or I suppose it could be 2028 because of the dispute of when Jesus was born. Maybe even 2030.
What? Hey, do you find the book of Job to be factual or like a parable?
Here's what I would have told you 5 years ago, is I would have said Jesus treats it as a fact. The same way that he treats Jonah as a fact. I actually think it can be true that way, but I don't think it has to be true that way. You can refer to a story that was not a fact but a well-known parable and give it to somebody as an example on what the implications of your current situation, and it's just as true.
Yeah, I don't need the prodigal son to be my friend Steve.
Yeah. So I don't. I think I generally would defer. I defer to things to being factual, like literal truth, not parable truth. Until I can become the convincing is to convince me that it's a parable.
Gotcha.
First, and so, but I actually, because I don't care either way, I just don't. It doesn't matter as much to me. But like, yeah,
we were talking about it in the car for some reason on the drive in here. And there's a couple things that occurred to me that I thought, well, here's why I think it could be a parable truth. One, I don't know who wrote down the heaven scene, right, of the things that were going on in heaven.
Yeah.
But then I thought, if it was literal truth, or if it was parable truth, there's no reason for 30 chapters of 3 or 4 dudes arguing with each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of dialogue in there.
There's like, okay, Elihu's a turd. Bildad is half reasonable for a minute there, and then he comes in as a turd. And then this other guy is just kind of like passive-aggressive in the corner. And I thought, why would you, if you were trying to get a parable to like help your mind and heart to do a thing, like you lost me halfway through Job. I'm like, all right, boys, settle it. Someone needs to settle this because I'm tired of listening to this back and forth.
That's true. If you think of parables as like a pithy bit of wisdom, there's no pith in the book of Job.
No, it's like
whatever the opposite of pith is that's what's going on in there. All right, you're listening to Live from the Path. Here's what we got going on the program today. The first question is, do you trust other Christians? Now it feels broad, and we'll dig into it a little bit more, but just think about, like, of all the things that we want to do as Christians. Hey, we want to go introduce people to Jesus, and then think about the other Christians you know, or the Christians that you're aware of that maybe aren't in your close personal contact.
Yeah, let's call it other churches.
Yeah, other church down the street. And you're like, when someone goes, hey, if someone came up to you and said, hey, I really want to learn more about Jesus, I'm going to go hit up church X on 2nd Avenue or 18th Street, do you go, ooh?
Oh, no.
Oh, my. And so it's like, yeah. How are we feeling about that? In what ways can this be healthy? In what ways is this extremely problematic? And then what do you do about that? And then actually, I think we're going to hit that, and then we're going to do advice on Dear Live from the Path. And that's it. Then we'll cut you loose.
Yeah, we got wild. It's a wild day.
Yeah. What? Why is it a wild day?
Because I don't know. I didn't have anything prepared.
Dang.
Dawson, why is it a wild day?
Because it's the day after the rodeo.
Oh, damn.
Dude,
Rodeo's
it is
wild.
the day after the rodeo. Old Frank might be calling rodeos in Knoxville.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
Is he a taller fella? He was there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good fella.
Actually, I can't think of the last time I was at a rodeo, but like I always remember thinking they wear a lot more safety gear than they used to. Like, it almost looks like the college baseball, where I'm like, what's the matter with you guys? You know what I'm saying? Like, they wear like
They got
these...
the 2 mittens.
Yeah, mittens. Like, I was at a high school baseball game the other day, and I'm like, this guy's got 2 pairs of gloves on him. And I'm like, weird. Wonder what those are for. And then someone next to me is like, they're sliding gloves. I'm like, they're what? They're gloves for sliding bases. I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? You need a separate pair of sliding gloves now?
I did not know anything about this until like a few weeks ago. Same thing. It was at like a softball game or a baseball game or something, and dude gets to first base, and then the first base coach hand him. It looked like the of glove. He swaps for this thing, and then he goes, and like, you look ridiculous. And this was new to me. This was new to me.
It's one of the many reasons why I stopped playing. I mean, other than the reason that I was not very good.
Yeah.
And then I didn't enjoy it.
Was
But
the sliding glove introduced when you were playing ball?
it was right at the beginning. And then everybody was having it. And then they were looking at me being like, why don't you got that?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm still using the same helmet when I was in
Did you
T-ball.
ever have some kind of sandlot operation that brought an oven mitt from home or something? Be like,
Absolutely not.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about this. If someone said, Mike, I'm very interested in learning more about Jesus, and I'm going to go to this X church. Just pick any one of them, really. It doesn't even have to, it's not even have to be a denomination distinction. It's just like in general. Do you look out at the world and go, yeah, I think as a whole, I trust these other Christians are going to like faithfully introduce people to Jesus? Or is there part of you that is just always a bit like, oh, I don't know?
Yeah, I think it's the second one. And I don't know if that's great in me. And I don't know if that's a me problem or if that's like a cause of the modern age or something that I was thinking very specifically like these group of kids that I know. And like I so desperately want them to come to youth group because I wanted to talk to them about Jesus. And I thought, well, maybe they'll meet. Maybe as their life carries on, I just use it as a salve to me. I'm like, as their life carries on, maybe they'll run into other Christians that want to speak into their life. And then I started thinking, oh no. Well, it depends on where they come from or what they believe exactly. And if they're, oh man, I want to talk to them. Like, I want to do this. I want to be the guy that does it because I don't know, because our big C Bride of Christ church, like has so many nuances to it and like additions to the hat that you just like that they lead with instead of like the main thing that I'm like, once you meet Jesus and give your life to him, I don't care what church you go to. I feel like you're now doing business with the Holy Spirit and the Lord above. And I'm cool even with the complex stuff that has to do with other people and how they view Christianity or religion in general. But once you're doing business with the Lord, I'm good. But like when you're trying to get introduced to the Lord, when there's so much complexity going around at other churches that want to add like their own spin or flavor on it, I'm like, oh, man, they'll never meet Jesus. They're going to get so tied up in like the thing you decided to hang a flag out on the outside of your building on, or the fact that you won't stop preaching about America every week, or the fact that like this thing is central to the way that your specific group of people like want to do, church on a Sunday, that you're like, like electric guitars aren't the devil, like, and like it, all of it like gets in my head and goes, all that stuff's going to get in the way. They'll never meet Jesus. They're just going to end up being a churchgoer. Yeah. And like, if there's nothing more offensive to me than someone who's just a churchgoer, like you just go, that's it. Like you're not a follower of Christ. You're just a church attender. What a waste of your own time. Why would you go be made to be feel like you should repent of something or do better at something, and then you don't have the source to like forgive you of things or help you or like guide you in your life? Like, why would you go?
Have you ever had the experience, Mike, where like you directed someone or someone told you, hey, I'm going to go to this church or whatever. You're like, hey, that's great. And then a few months go by or whatever, you have a follow-up conversation, and then it feels like it got twisted up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like what? Like, just give me like a high level example.
Okay, hold on. Let me think. I think that, let's say that I know something about their past, right? Mm-hmm. And it's something that like, even if it's a particular sin or a particular way that they're looking at the world or the way they grew up or something. Yeah. And like, I'm well aware of this. And part of me goes, look, we can either sin shame or we can introduce you to the Redeemer. And then the Holy Spirit will help you to see those things on your own. And then you can give them up as God works this out in you. And like, I've done that before. Well, I knew this about a particular person and they're like, I'm going to go to blah, 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 this church or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that should be fine. And it just so happened that like they picked that sin and just beat the tar out of it that day.
Yeah.
Just made it seem like the worst thing ever, you know? And I'm like, man, it's not like it wasn't biblical truth, right? But like God loved, Jesus just approached people like the woman at the well style, right? With a little bit more humanity and God-given worth than you let their sin define their entirety. And I'm like, I never thought that would be the case. And part of me goes, well, maybe God directed him to that because that was time for that. But like the aftermath was not that. The aftermath was that none of that felt like love at all. It just felt like they hate people like me. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
And that's normally my concern. So that's the question we were talking about on the way in is like, do I inherently mistrust like other churches, or like, do I believe that my version is the best one? Is it an arrogance? You know what I'm saying? Do I not trust God to like send people to water if we're the ones spreading seeds? You know, like it just seems like because of the wide variety that we allow the following of Jesus to be and the nuances that we go, it's okay if you're Jesus plus this as well, you know? And so like the plus seems to take all of the bandwidth. The Jesus tends to take a back seat. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I trust a person that I love to be in the hands of someone else who has a plus. I'm okay in the hands of, I know plenty of Christians that they're just Jesus only. And so like, that's all they care about. And so I'm like, I can name you people I can definitely send you to. Churches on a whole, that list starts to dwindle down quite a bit. And then like, then after that, I'm like, I don't know where you should go. You want to talk to me? You know what I'm saying? Because it feels like it's the only way that we can ensure that like someone actually gets to know Jesus. So maybe my question is there an arrogance to that? Should we have a mistrust of other Christ-following communities around us? Is this like a misunderstanding of God's providence?
And I mean, my first instinct, of course, is because I feel like I get duped and I trusting of everyone.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, if you don't know Jesus at all, then any place to find Jesus is a good place.
For sure.
But then you start thinking about it a little bit, and then it's like, well, no, because if they're selling some weird version of Jesus that isn't speaking the truth, then I don't want to send you there.
Yeah. I don't want you to go there and just learn, you know, and like it could be just as serious as mischaracterizing like God and the way he feels about humanity. And it could be so small as like, look, you got to wear a suit in here. You know what I'm saying? And we're like, I don't know. But the thing is, like, even that suit thing, like sometimes it will breed a thing in people where like you misunderstood God, right? You felt like God didn't want anything to do with you, and you're broken and you're mess and you're dirty because you weren't dressed right, or you didn't comb your hair, or you didn't tithe enough. And so you misunderstood God's character because of this other thing. Now, granted, like there's some personal accountability to that, for you to read your own Bible and know that that's not the thing. But still, like there are ways that communities, you know, that present and live and work and like do all their things that we're like, man, I don't know if I trust other Christians to keep the main thing the main thing.
So I think there's two things that strike me within that conversation. So I think the first is that the two things to check yourself on is if I think about and go like, if I had a mistrust for other churches around me or groups of Christians, the first question probably is the thing that I'm labeling as mistrust based upon stuff that is like more preferences than anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, could I look around and go, oh, I mean, and this is easy from like a denomination standpoint. It's like, I don't know if I wouldn't want them to go to the Lutheran church down the street because like we believe different things. I'm like, okay, but like if they went to a church that wasn't mine and they learned to love Jesus there, but they also only sang the only 3 songs that they knew for the next 50 years, and they even were okay. The Greek Orthodox is okay with putting like icons up in their house and this kind of business, and but they met Jesus there. Then like, that's not a mistrust problem. That's like a misunderstand problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so the first question is that like, it goes back to a conversation we were having on the show a number of weeks ago, which is like, do we know what the main thing is, and do we keep it the main thing? And so, like, what is right to mistrust and be cautious about is people who've got Jesus wrong. Outside of that, like, we are not. Christianity is not offering like a booth at the industrial building at the fair. What am I thinking of? What the Varied Industries building at the fair. It's not a situation like if the thing was, if you go to a place and like, oh, that's the week that they talked about this thing, and just in the very moment they were there, it didn't work out, and now we lost them forever. Like, that isn't even Christianity's proposition.
Yeah.
And so I do think like we'll lose a lot of those because of a given sermon on a given Sunday, or like a choice of music, or like, whatever it was. I just don't even treat those as, sometimes God will use that kind of stuff, but like, I don't treat it as like a major thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's not I'm interacting with something that alters and carries my life. But the second thing becomes, do you know enough to mistrust? Like, it's completely reasonable, just if you ignore the Christian context, it's completely reasonable to go, look, I don't trust this person because I don't know them. That's fine. That's healthy, right? But the way you rectify that is to go get to know them, right? Is to, this is what was an advocation that I've always had. It always had when people would go, oh, I disagree with this teaching or with this group, or it happens at a denominational level. And I was thinking about this even again today, is that like we were at we went to the Greek fair, the Greek festival that they have downtown, or just off of downtown, and it's at this Greek Orthodox church. And I was walking around in this church, and like my kids are asking me a bunch of questions, and I can answer some of them, but I can't answer all of them. And like it's kind of like if you think about like a Catholic church, like a Roman Catholic church, where there's like where people sit, and then there's this like big stuff going on back behind there. And immediately, like, this doesn't look at all like some sort of evangelical organic church or something somewhere. You're like, boy, this is super put on. Like, what a show. But here's just as an interesting aside, part of the reason this is framed that way is like they've actually used the space. This is true for a lot of Catholic churches too. Catholic architecture is super interesting. And like, you don't mistake it just like, hey, we just want to be grandiose. A lot of these folks who are designing these buildings will tell you stories that point you back to Jesus in the spires, that point you back to Jesus in and how many columns there are, right? This kind of thing. They've been thoughtful. I think there's room to disagree on whether it's necessary, but like I'd be cautious at drawing the wrong conclusion. And so as an example, in the Greek Orthodox Church, there's like a clear delineation between like where the people sit and where like the pastor priest dude does all his stuff. And it isn't because they're going, oh, this guy's holy. It's actually you're sitting in the room, and it almost functions as a microcosm of like that space is like the heavenly space, and the place where people sit is the earthly space. And then what you see at the start of these a lot of the services is like they have the big ass Bible too in this thing, and like they'll bring it from the heavenly space out into the place where everybody is sitting. It's a symbolic thing. It's the thing that Jesus does. Yeah. Right? Like, word becomes with us, right? And so now, if you know that, if someone were to explain that to you, you would go, it's not necessarily my flavor, but I understand it differently than if I just walked in here and go, look at this ornate show going on in here. And so the point is to say, I think that you're going to have legitimate disagreements, and like we should always be wrestling with the Word of God and having it refine us, and listening to the Spirit and asking the Spirit to guide groups of people who have apparent disagreements to stop disagreeing where we can. But like sometimes the notion of mistrusting is like you don't actually know these people enough to actually have a reason to mistrust, except for you don't know them enough, and that's the only reason. And so I would strongly advocate. The question is if like you just think about your town or the churches that surround you or something, and go, if I would have a hesitance to send somebody to any one of these places, then the proper thing to probably do is go meet them.
Yeah.
Let's just go talk to them. And then, I mean, maybe you're going to come across, you're going to talk to 8 pastors at 8 churches, and you're going to go to one of their Wednesday night events because, like, whatever, there's people who love Jesus. And you're going to walk away with one of them and go, no.
Yeah.
No way,
Nope.
man. Not going to do it. But the other guys, you're going to go, it's not my flavor, but they love Jesus there. And so for sure, my dude.
Yeah.
Because there is, it's a both things. This is where I was thinking for a while, because I think it is an arrogance to a certain extent at its harshest. Like, I'm the only guy who says the true thing. But you don't actually believe that. But what you do know about yourself is whether you are humbly in pursuit of Jesus.
Yeah.
I trust humbly in pursuit of Jesus, not perfection, right? So, like, I wouldn't, if I wanted to, I do often think this. There's like someone who's talking and they're like, oh, they're really struggling with Christianity. And I'm like, I would like to talk to them. And I don't want to talk to them because I'm the smartest guy, or I got 9 years in Bible school, or I'm not even a particularly good counselor. But what I do have a trust in myself is not myself, is the fact that, like, I know that I'm humbly pursuing Jesus, and I expect that will come through in whatever this conversation is. And so that's actually not an arrogance. It's a familiarity. I know that Mike is humbly pursuing Jesus. And so in all Mike's fallibilities, if someone said, hey, I think I'm going to go talk to Mike, I said, that is great. You will meet Jesus there. And so either way, so like you could say arrogant, hey, I'm the only guy who's saying the right thing. It's not that. I actually think it's a trust and humility.
Yeah,
that I'm on board with.
Because I for sure don't actually think that. And I actually have, as much as we probably talk about it on the show, I actually don't have a bunch of denominational problems.
No.
Right? Like, I have zero. Like, you would think that I would be like, if someone told me that they started going to a Catholic church, I'd be like, no. I'm like, I actually don't care. I really don't. Like, I really want people to meet Jesus. And there's all kinds of people who love Jesus at every church that people are going to. And mostly because Christ is the head of the church. And so he will do this. And so the thing that I think gave me pause is because it's a thing that I don't know that I like that enters my mind. Because one, for that arrogance thing, like I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't know that I actually think it the way that I presented it. But I'm like, one, I would love the opportunity to be the guy that gets to talk to you about this. Not for any other reason, but like, I do know that I'm humbly trying to follow Jesus, and I really have zero axe to grind. You talk to me, and after you're done, you're like, I would like to be Methodist. I'm like, great. Follow Jesus when you're there. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want. But I think that, like, overall, it's maybe because, like, the I get concerned, and this might just be old big church in me, where I'm like, I don't want to introduce people to going to church.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I want to introduce people to knowing Jesus. You will attend a community somewhere because the Holy Spirit wants you to be there. The Holy Spirit loves community. God created you for it. And if the Holy Spirit's calling balls and strikes in your life, you'll end up somewhere. I don't care where it is. It's not really a deal to me. And I think the thing that I get afraid of is, like, because this happened to me when we before we ever started going to like we found a church home back in the day when my wife and I were first married. We were trying out churches, and almost every single one, like, they were already trying to sell me on their brand. You know what I'm saying? They were like trying to get my wife to be on the pie baking committee. We ain't been there 45 minutes. We haven't even sat through the sermon yet. And they're like, you want to be in our adult group on Tuesday? I'm like, I don't even know you. I don't even know whether you believe in Jesus right now. The sermon hasn't even started. You know, I know nothing about your community. And I think they're at their best, they're trying to invite you in to be part of their community, right? But I'm like, I happen to already know Jesus when I walked in here. I'm just looking for a community. But, like, that's not the case of other people who are walking into your church. They might not know Jesus at all. And so the main thing is, like, are we pushing people, are we helping people to understand who God is and who they are in relation to who God is? And then, like, all the community stuff, what church they go to, what small group they're in, like, the stuff that they decide to do to be helpful or part of the body, I feel like God will sort all that stuff out. And so, like, maybe my overall concern, it's what some of it's doctrine stuff, right? Especially if they have certain things in their past or certain things that, like, lies that they're believing about how the world works. Yeah, I get real protective about that because I've seen Christianity do this very well and very, very poorly. You're right. Well, on the poor side, we've either acquiesced and just called it good, or like we've used like our paintbrush to just paint sin this way and go, I don't care whether you met God or not, you're just a wrong person. You know what I'm saying? And like, that's gross. I don't want you meeting people like that. I don't want you thinking that's the way that God thinks or the way that God loves. So like, what church do you say you're going to? Because I know a couple of churches like that. Don't go to that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So maybe that's the point is though I can only make that distinction because I do know them. I know 10 churches I could recommend right now.
Yeah.
You know, within 2 miles of wherever that person lives. There's a church somewhere where there's a community of people who love Jesus. And I'd be like, hey, you should go. In fact, I almost never invite anyone to our church. I always invite them to go to a church that's closer to them or that's near their community or someone they already know goes there. Because I'm like, whatever this is going to be, it can't be about growing our faction of or our community that God has set up. It has to be about you meeting Jesus. If that's done in our community, I would love that. But I'm not leading with that. Like, you will find your way back if that's what God is creating in you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you almost have to insist upon it for me to be like, yeah, you should come by. Like, I'm glad.
And that brings me to a question. Like, as a person who's only been into like 4 or 5 churches I've stepped into, what is things that you should be looking out for? Or not looking out for, but like things to maybe almost like pay extra attention to when attending a service or stepping into a community, even on like a random Wednesday night for one of their events?
Dude, good question.
Yeah, is the key question is Jesus the main thing? Like it should be it should be clear that that this is a group of people whose full identity is in Jesus, and that's what they're pursuing. There's a million things you could talk about that become downstream from that. But like, if it is not obvious you're going to spend any place for an hour and it's not obvious that Jesus is the main thing, you might be in a fun and community gathering, but like we're here to meet and follow Jesus. And so that would be the key thing. And like, if you're new to the faith, I know that might not be easy. The thing I would encourage you in is that try not to judge based upon how you feel. Because like, there's going to be things like if you're walking into something for a first time, sometimes people are going to say things that are foreign to you. Okay. Like, who knows? Might be right. Their heart might be right. The facts might be wrong. Facts might be right. Heart might be wrong. Like, this is all these always groups of human beings, right? And so like, I would say be generous and look for Jesus. I think if you can do those two things, you'll get to a place where you're like, I think you'll start recognizing that stuff pretty quick. The other stuff is peripheral, and like maybe that's a caution against, sometimes you're like, oh, these people seemed really nice. They could be really nice and not be pointing you to Jesus, and the amenities could be great, and like, wow, they set up a coffee shop and the music was cool. I'm on for those things in general, as long as we're pointing people to Jesus. And so past that, I think we got a lot of room for a lot of flavors. Yeah. And I think it's okay to like your own flavor, actually. I think it's all right to be like, I was talking to a dude later last week, and he leads worship at a church, and we were just I had some music on in the kitchen. It was like a shindig at my place for some softball kids, and he's like, it was Andrew Peterson. He's like, hey, is this Andrew Peterson? I'm like, yeah, you like that? He's like, nah. He's like, he's a minstrel. He goes, if he were to write some more, he is worthy. I can get on board with that. He loves that stuff, but he's like, otherwise, he's just like a traveling minstrel. I'm like, yeah, I like that. I see that you don't. But I really like this guy, and then like, it's fine that he doesn't, and it's fine if his church doesn't like gravitate towards that, and a different place does. Like, I actually think, for all the harassment that I probably have on consumerish stuff, like, communities are it's okay that people coalesce. Like, it's okay. Mm-hmm. But you can't do that in place of Jesus is the first thing. Yeah. Get Jesus right. Let's follow Jesus fallibly but humbly. And then then you can resettle all the other things, and you can be kind to each other. It's all right to buy donuts for each other on a Sunday morning. It's all right to play tunes people like. That stuff's fine, as long as we're following Jesus.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is why I like personal discipleship best. This is why I like people getting introduced and learning who Jesus is from a person-to-person relationship and not in a church setting. And like, hear me out before you get mad at me. But like, the church setting is a gathering of people who love Jesus. And like, you're going to talk to a community of 200 people that you already know have agreed that Jesus is Lord. You're just going to talk to them differently than you would to a person who doesn't believe Jesus is Lord.
Yeah.
Right? But like, do you know what exact conversation you can have one-on-one that's not awkward, that's not them leaving them guessing or misunderstanding, or like the tone of the conversation's a little different, is if you just sit down with another person and talk to them about who Jesus is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why I like that, because by the time you walk into a church setting, you already know who Jesus is. And now you're just trying to settle on, God, is this the community you would have me do work in? You know what I'm saying? That's all you're trying to do. You're not going, I need this guy to hold up all of my theologicalness and teach me everything about the Bible. You need to read your own Bible. And then you come in and be part of a community, right? So like, it's less about how do we convert people who randomly came off the street here, opposed to how do we provide a community of believers who love and follow Jesus, and we bring people that we've introduced to Jesus outside of this building into the community.
Yeah, totally. And actually, this is like a bomb probably in a group full of, if you got 100 churches, I'd be interested in where they came from it. But like, I pretty firmly believe church is for Christians, Christians are for the world. And so like, this is where a lot of churches are in a real tricky spot, because they're trying to do both. They're like, this building, this event, this message is both for people who are passionately following Jesus and have been for 10 years, and for people who have no idea what's going on. How could you possibly talk to that crowd of people in the same way?
Yeah, and how do you address talking to people that way when, like, if you're the main source of information about the Bible or the Scripture or what God is leading you as a church community to do, and you have to deliver it in both milk and meat?
Yeah.
That's really, really hard.
That's a nasty cereal.
It's like you. And here's the thing: the truth of it is, what you end up doing is blending it. You end up taking milk and meat, putting it in a blender, and chopping it up so it's consumable by everybody, even though people
and then
who
both don't like it.
Yeah. And then neither one got what they should have got. You know what I'm saying? And so like, this is not a critique on your place, so don't hear me saying it that way. Ben's right. It's a tough spot to be in, but we've kind of set it up this way. But I think what it should do is push us back into going personal discipleship, personal, like meeting people, talking to them about Jesus, and not making the event do it. Like, the event is not how people come to know Jesus. It's always other people. Yeah. Now, granted, Pentecostals, you're gonna hold this against me, but just hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Defend me against a Pentecost accusation.
What do you mean? Be more specific.
Like, people would go, well, Pentecost, they were a giant gathering, and the Holy Spirit did all the things, and so
they were a gathering of Christians.
That's what I said. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
Good defense.
Church is for Christians. Christians are for the world. They do both of the things. Like, and here's what I'm okay with, interestingly enough, is that, like, if someone who goes, I'm just interested in what's going on in there, there's no reason they should get a different experience than the rest of the Christians. Like, come in and sit, and like, you're not going to understand almost all of it, but you go, wow, something about that's really interesting. I'd like to know more.
Yep.
So like, I've never, I feel like I'm cheating at some points as we think about church and stuff. It's like, oh, you make it sound so easy. I actually think it is easy. The thing itself is easy. The implications require additional work, but you just don't have to front load it in all this stuff. Someone goes, I didn't understand that. Just like the Ethiopian eunuch did. God sent a dude. The dude, like, Philip doesn't go, you know what you should do? You should go to Phyllis's house church over here.
Yeah,
and
I have a 101 class you can attend.
Yeah. Dude's like, actually, I remember, like, one of my kids asked me this recently. She was reading through, and that story of the guy, you know, the Ethiopian eunuch reading, and she's like, why is he reading a book he doesn't understand? What a weird dude. Like, who just picks up a book and goes, I have no idea what this is about. But that's what happened. And so, like, I think, to Dawson's point, like, we may be actually less effective. We're not ineffective, because here's the thing: whatever people are trying their best, and I think Jesus will do amazing things with it. I just wonder if we spend a lot of sweat going, like, trying to make magic happen in places where, like, we're just not required to have to sort all the things out. I think you can just I think you can just frame when Christians gather as Christians. If someone who's not a Christian is there, well, then for heaven's sakes, show them everything the Christians are up to. And they're not going to understand all the things. Like, I'll do that. I'll try to reaccommodate, hey, you don't understand quite what we're talking about. Let me catch you up. But and then we proceed.
Yeah. Think about it like you have a family dinner every Sunday night, right? Like, even if someone invites a guest, the family dinner runs exactly the same.
Yeah.
The family dinner is for the family. It runs like that. You tell jokes and stuff that happened 2 years ago on vacation, and everyone laughs, and the guest's like, I don't get this story. You know what I'm saying? But the family dinner didn't change because the family dinner's designed for the family.
Who's been in the family?
Yeah, who's been in the family, right? And when sometimes the guest will go and they're like, I love your family. I love being around your family. I love the atmosphere was there. There's just something cool about your family. And you're like, yes.
Yeah.
Then they didn't get to know the family.
Correct. Yeah. And so maybe that's the right way to think about it. That goes, look, church is designed for us to get together as people who love and worship Jesus, to pray together and worship together and be encouraged by, biblical truth that comes out, and sermons that call us to repent and then call us to re-examine where we're at and be re-energized for the work that God has set us up to do. And so is it fine that people who don't love Jesus show up and get the vibe of it? Absolutely. Yeah. I think God's completely on board with that, and we love that. But there's such a chasm between that and being part of the family. And I still think that, because what would happen is you'd bring your boyfriend or your girlfriend to the family dinner. They would tell all the stories. You'd be like, I love being part of your family. And you're like, let me teach you, as we continue to be in relationship together, how to be in my family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uncle whatever acts this way. Don't bring up Obama. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so I still think it points back to, it doesn't have to be one super Christian doing all this stuff, but it's just, it feels like there's so much opportunity to surf through the gray and the questions and why does God allow a giant killing of the Canaanites? And these are all questions that you can go through one-on-one. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going, I wish that guy would talk about the Canaanites, but he keeps talking about Acts. We're in Acts for another 3 years, and I'm mad at God because he's killing the Canaanites.
Actually, I was just thinking about that. I saw, whatever, I'm friends with pastors, and they're constantly going, hey, come by the church this Sunday. We're talking about the woman at the well, or we're digging into Deuteronomy. I'm like, who the heck is attracted to hey,
finally someone's on the dude.
Right. The only people who would wow, I want to check that out are other Christians. And what are we doing?
Yeah.
Nobody I would never advertise, hey, we're firing up John. You should come for the firing up of John. I don't know why that's compelling to you. You should come because people of Jesus are gathering and we probably care about you. And then we will be teaching the word of Jesus. I just don't expect, if you're attracted by the message and you're going to decide to show up that day, I just don't know. That feels like a sweat. I don't know how to sweat that.
And you know what feels awesome is people attracted to want to know the God that you know because of the Holy Spirit in you. That feels awesome.
Yeah.
That feels like because that's what light going into darkness looks like. We're just basically oh, this is going to sound like condemnation to churches. Don't hear me right. I'm trying to love well. But we're basically advertising a light festival every Sunday. Hey, there's going to be light here. And other lights are great, I will join you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm which is good and right for the family gathering. Hey, cousins and family, we're going to get together on Sunday. Great, I would love to be there. Mm-hmm. But don't expect it and don't put the onus on it to do the work that you should be doing by being in relationship with dark, by pushing light into darkness and having those conversations and those relationships.
Yeah.
Instead of gathering as a city on a hill, right? That other people will see, true, but light doesn't push into darkness by staying on the hill. It's got to go down there and get in some of that stuff and have some relationships and if you've not had the opportunity in your life to introduce Jesus to somebody who didn't know him before, you don't understand your faith. It just changes everything about who you think God is, because the thing that you think God did in your life and you introduce someone else to who God is, and then you get to watch God work in their life, what do you think happens to your faith after that?
Yeah.
Your faith deepens.
Yeah. Actually, so it's a good reminder. Churches don't make disciples. Systems don't make disciples. Jesus makes disciples who then make disciples. And so, your expectation, just don't think I'm trying to gather. Even in the community itself is not disciple making. And so, like, we don't have to cram all the stuff like at the same time. Like, it's just impossible. And I think we've crossed all the things together as if the liability is that within 90 minutes or 60 minutes, like, you're going to teach something, you're going to teach facts that change how people view the world, and they're going to come out there on fire and following Jesus and discipling other people. And like, it's always been this combination of like, we gather together, we walk together, not just, and we've put too much. It's not like the gathering is bad. It's one of those things actually, maybe we talked about this once, but like, I found myself maybe about a year ago, I was driving down the road and I saw a church that just, had a cross on it, like most of the churches do. And I looked at that and I thought, I love that, actually. It made me think of like the 1700s, if someone was like walking between two towns and you came over the crest of the hill and you see, the first thing you're probably going to see is a cross. I'm like, wow, people of peace are here.
Yeah.
And this is fine. This is totally fine. And so like, don't misunderstand, to Mike's point, don't misunderstand what we're saying here. I'm not no one's a strong advocate saying, hey, it's holy house churching. That's not what we're saying. But what we are saying is like the orientation of whatever expression you do as a community does not have the ability nor the liability to make disciples. The church is for Christians. Christians make disciples, which means that like the way that you actually get these connections and like where to send is because you're close enough to know people, and that people are trying to help make disciples and point people back to Jesus, not just can we get them trapped in the box and running through the program.
Yeah.
And so, but if you think of it that way, it also should change how you wake up in the morning. And not because you have to manufacture a bunch of stuff, but you got your eyes open for it. You're looking around at the world and saying, God, open my eyes to the things that you've got going on, or the opportunities. Like you told me, your Holy Spirit said through Jesus Christ that I get to be part of making disciples. Help me not to miss the opportunity to do that.
Or make it too much of your own.
Sure.
Because I've definitely found myself, because I've been talking with a buddy of mine that I just recently met, and he's having a hard time, like, just giving it all and putting it at the foot of Jesus.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I keep on want to, like, almost cohort ways to make him do it the same way I did.
Yeah.
And that's not
right.
the way you should be doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? It's funny enough. I was thinking about that this week, that like, there's ways that I can look back in my life and see how God did work. And part of me doesn't know what to do in some situations. So I'm like, well, let's recreate this. Maybe God will work again like this way. Mm-hmm. And like, if I look through the biblical story, the reason it's so outlandish and amazing is because very rarely does God repeat himself. Like, he does have patterns and he does have character that doesn't change, right? But like, not two people crossed the Red Sea on dry land. You know what I'm saying? He didn't be like, I did it with Moses, now Peter. But like, he will move water again. You know what I'm saying? Like, he will do that. And like, so I like the thing is like, be open to the mystery and be open to the wonder of how God is going to do something. And like, funny enough, that's the exact opposite prescription of what we're expecting out of our 10:30 to 11:30 service, where we're like, we'll do it the same way all the time. God has done it before, and he has. People will walk into a church building and they will meet Jesus there, and they will be disciples of Christ. It happens. It definitely happens. But more than likely, like, what I guess maybe I can only speak to what I've seen is what it introduced someone is how to be a churchgoer, right? Because they never quite got discipled or learn how to do what you do on Monday. The pastor will sometimes tell you what to do on Monday, very specifically at the end of the sermon. So what do we do tomorrow? And then he'll tell you. And then you're like, oh, okay, I will implement this Monday, right? But like, okay, here's a question. It's I don't know if this is a right measurement or not, but if the only fasting you've ever done is because your church was also doing it, I need you to reconsider like how much you're walking in this thing on your own, right? If you've never sat at your house and thought, I need to fast and pray on this because this is what a disciple of Christ will do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it's never even crossed your mind, enough to even bring up a question to someone else and go, hey, for some reason I'm thinking about fasting. What do you think about this? Right? Completely legitimate question. It's a thing. But like, if you're only pursuing like that type of relationship with Jesus because the church told you to do it, and you haven't found someone randomly that's like, yeah, I'm currently fasting. Me and the Lord are trying to work something out, or I'm praying on something, right? Like these are marks of a disciple who follows Jesus, whether or not they're sitting in that community or not. You know what I'm saying? And so like that's the life we actually want to introduce people to is following Jesus. Like if it's just them in a cave, you know what I'm saying? If it's just them and them only, are they still following Jesus? Do they know how to do it? Do they know how to be in relationship with Jesus? Do they know how to wait on the Holy Spirit? Do they know how to take the things that God has said and let it search their heart and let the Holy Spirit do work? You know what I'm saying? Like these are all things that like it sounds like it's just intuitive and comes, but it does not, because you're gonna have questions throughout. That's gonna be like, I feel like I've been waiting for like 5 days for the Lord to answer me, and then a seasoned Jesus person will go, 5 days, huh? Rough times. I'm 15 years on this one thing. You know what I'm saying? And so like, and that's all to be like as generous as we can, just to reframe what we're expecting out of the system that we believe is set up to catch all the things.
Yeah, well, actually, one of the things it should do is ultimately help relieve people of the expectation of what it actually means to follow Jesus. Like, you don't have to be smart to follow him. You don't have to be a good greeter to follow him. You don't have to be particularly social to follow him. You don't have to dress all that well. Like, you don't have to know. There's all kinds of things where, and I think this does reflect some of what we were talking about a few shows back when it came to like, are we creating church followers or like people, churchgoers? Is that like becoming a disciple of following Jesus? Like when you get to those core things, it should not only does it focus you on the right things, it reduces what you feel like you're responsible for. So those other things can fall off quite a bit. Like it's because in a cave there is no other knowledge. There's nothing else to get. You will not be like if I stopped right now and God said, you never read another book. You get the scriptures. In fact, I'm going to take scriptures away from you. You get nothing. Yeah. Like, can you follow me? Yeah, I can do that. Do I have a desire for the more? Probably. But like, can I follow Jesus faithfully without a single ounce more of knowledge? Yeah, I think I can do that. In fact, I know I can do it. And so I think it's an interesting scenario then, like, when we think about how communities are formed and what you get exposed to and whatever, that the same thing that feels like what does it look like to become a follower of Jesus? It should actually reduce some liability of like, what does it mean to be a follower of Jesus? It doesn't actually mean that you know of all the things, and it doesn't mean that you get everything right, and it doesn't mean that like just all kinds of like religious-esque or pattern expectations that we may have, like you should do them probably, but they're not. It's not how we think about what it means to follow Jesus. You can drop almost all of that and still follow him.
Yeah, so it's like raising kids. Like your goal is to raise them to live without you. And like your goal as someone who's leading and trying to teach people about God is like, I want you to be able to worship and follow him without me and without a community if you have to. I don't think God hasn't called very many people into following without a community. He loves community that we were created for. But the truth of the matter is like, we want you to have your own relationship with Jesus. And because actually when you have that, then you can contribute to your community. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just being a person that shows up and like takes in the message, right? You're a guy that takes in the message and goes, yeah, God's been dealing with me on this. Let me tell you something that God did in my life that like deepens the thing that you just said. Or I feel like God is leading us like to have this heart for this thing. What do you guys think? Will you pray on this with me? Right? You can't actually give to the community unless you're following Jesus independent of it. And so like that is 100% true. If you want to be like part of a community that's following Jesus, that means individually you have to be following Jesus, and you have to be introducing other people to Jesus and piercing light into darkness. Because that's how we fill a community.
Yeah. If you think about even the biblical description of like the community being, somebody's an arm, someone's a leg, like you expect the arms doing their business, following Jesus, slapping flies off the leg when it shows up, not just going, well, just tell me where we're going, everybody. I'll do the same thing the leg's doing. You look like a real idiot if your arm and leg were doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah, and if we're being honest, like how God set the church up to be, like your pastor's probably an arm and a head, right? And like if you're not following Jesus independently of that, there's just going to be a bunch of arms and heads. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like someone needs to be the leg. Someone has to be that gal who just prays all the time and has never talked to the pastor one time, and then at year 12 she walks up and she goes, God says this needs to stop. And then she goes back to her praying, and the head goes, hot dang, that toe's mad. She's right.
Probably right.
We got to do this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, maybe it's because God loves so individually, and he uses individually. And I'm not saying he doesn't use communally, because he definitely does. But, like, I don't know, man. I just don't want to attend. I want to follow Jesus, and I want other people to follow Jesus. And I think that, like I think a lot of that is done through individual relationships and individual people teaching other individual people what it looks like to follow Jesus, even in your own fallibility. So you're like, I've only been doing this for like a year. I got to be honest. I don't understand the difference between a Protestant and whatever that other thing you said. But I can tell you this, I love Jesus. Well, how often do you take communion? I don't know. Whenever someone offers it to me. Sometimes it's today. Sometimes it's like 6 months from. I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason we do it at whatever cadence we do it. But I don't know what that is. So I just take it when people offer it.
Yeah. Okay. So if I round all this together, if the first question was around, hey, man, do you have a hesitance to trust other Christians? I think my gut reaction is probably yes. But at its kindest, it's probably due to unfamiliarity, which is rectifiable. And I probably have a motivation to do that. Like, because you just see, well, you can't have all the people. All the people they probably shouldn't be following you directly all the time. You only have so much time. God has got plenty of people who love him out into the world, and it behooves you to know them so that you can otherwise direct people and build them up and have confidence in stuff and pray for what they're doing. And so is it right to have a caution that people are representing Jesus? Yes, I think that's fine. I think the Bible, as a matter of fact, most of the New Testament, once you get out of the Gospels, most of the New Testament is about discernment, watching what people are teaching, watching the ideas of which they've taken some base nature of what Jesus has done, and they've start to mold it into the way they want the world to work. Every letter is getting at that. And so it's not all roses out there, boys. Like, you got to keep an eye on the thing. Discernment is necessary. And it tell you that even in that moment, like 30 years, 40 years from when the events occurred, humans do what humans do, which is they see a thing that has an advantage, they like some of it, and then they start to mold it to however they see the world. It's pretty common. And so, yeah, you should be discerning about that. And it's okay to say, look, I think you should probably stay away from that situation. But there are plenty of humble people who you disagree with on all kinds of things, who you do agree with on Jesus.
Yeah.
And the more you know those people, the more humble you stay, the more you start to understand that, like, maybe the things that you mistrusted because maybe you mistrusted them because you didn't understand them. And so rectify that. And maybe you mistrust them because you know enough and it's legitimate. That's fine. That's discernment. But the only way to know the difference is actually to get close enough and to know people enough to be able to make that. And then as we extended the conversation, I think it's a reinforcement that, like, yes, that level of getting, as we think about different communities and churches and things, that's kind of one bit. But as you think about what it looks like to go, how do I know I'm in a trustworthy community? Well, if it's clear that, like, they're following Jesus, then there's all kinds of things we can hold open-handed and we can be gracious about. But at the end of the day, churches, we said churches don't make disciples, systems don't make disciples, Christians make disciples, churches for Christians, Christians are for the world. And so when both of those things are true, our expectations should change about, like, auditioning communities and, like, really, we're just finding other people who are following Jesus and you're going to walk with them, which frankly is Jesus's prescription of discipleship. He says when he looks at the dudes, he goes, hey, come follow me. I will make you fishers of men. And then Paul goes, follow me as I follow Christ. Like, the prescription of making disciples is like, I'm inviting people to come with me. It's not, I'm set up an operation and I'm going to run them through it. Yeah. It's like, you're going to go about your business, and maybe your business is making tents and having dinner with your family and, like, whatever the Lord's got you set up for in life. And you're going to invite people to come along to that. And they're going to see you, and then through your attempt to humbly follow him. And that's how disciples are made. You're listening to Life from the Path. Hey, maybe you got feedback on that. Let us know. If we got it wrong, we'd love to hear it. If we got it right, you better hold that. We're pretty confident in here, and so I don't think I need any other affirmations. It's 515-517-0098. No. 0085. 515-517-0085. That's call or text. And it's telling you that you are not calling or texting often enough if I've forgotten the number, given that I've shared that number 350 times. Okay? 515-517-0085. Call or text. That's the Live from the Path complaint line. All right. In the spirit of arrogance, Mike, we should give out a little bit of advice.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Dear Live from the Path. My fiance and I often talked about maybe getting a dog. He really wanted one, but I never fully committed because I knew it would be additional work and responsibility I don't have time for. I work full-time, do part-time work as well, and manage the household tasks, shopping, cleaning, etc. When I ask him to pitch in, he always does, but I'm at max capacity with work. Not long ago, he asked me to go look at dogs. I agreed, but only to look. When we arrived, I told him and the dog owner that the puppies looked very sweet, but added, that the puppies looked very sweet, but added that they were just not ready. I reiterated this several times, but my fiance placed the money on the counter despite my objections, and now we have a dog, Butch. Fast forward, Butch is a sweet, loving pup. I adore him, but he's a ton of work. Yep. My fiance is back in school and working, so he's not happy stopping multiple times a day to take Butch out for air and exercise as the dog in an active breed. He does it, but some days are stressful for us both. Live from the Path, I resent him for this. We're both overloaded and now have another full-time responsibility plus extra bills. We love Butch, but are overwhelmed. I would be miserable giving him away, which is what my fiance now suggests. We treat Butch well, we love him and give him the best of everything, and he is sensitive and sweet. I don't think another person or family would treat him as well, and I would be sick with worry if he weren't here. We paid for daycare and walks, that helped immensely, but we can't afford it anymore. What do I do?
Just to be clear, the fiance asked for the dog, and then now doesn't want to keep him because it was too much work.
So I think the fiance wanted the dog. The person writing was against getting the dog.
Yep.
And they said, and the fiance goes, "Hey, let's go have a look at these dogs." She's like, "No, but I'll go look at them with you, but we're just browsing."
Mistake one.
Yeah.
Mistake one.
And then fiance instantly purchases Butch while we're there.
Mistake number two.
And then the confusion sets in where the writer of the question says, "Look, I love this dog. We give it everything. He's bright, happy, but he's too much responsibility and we can't have him. I'd worry to tears if he was gone. I don't really want to give him away, but I don't want to have him here either. What do I do?" I'm mad at my fiance. The main point of the question is I'm mad at my fiance for even putting us in this situation and buying the dog.
Yeah.
I'm just going to, it doesn't say which of one of these two people wrote the message, but I guarantee you right now the fiance is a dude.
Yeah.
And the gal writing is a gal for sure. Mm-hmm. And so this moron basically saddled up this thing that takes a bunch of responsibility and then is taking almost zero responsibility for it. But now the woman's torn. She's like, "I love the dog. Such a good dog. I couldn't stand to be apart from it, but I also can't stand to have it here. And I'm really mad at my fiance for putting us in this situation. And the question is, what do I do?"
Okay. So I actually find what the fiance has done to be pretty egregious. Like
the dog purchase?
Yeah. He knew this. He didn't be like, "Oh, I'm surprised you're reacting this way." He had every intention of buying that dog. Mm-hmm. I don't go like, "Hey, woman, let's go look in that Godiva chocolate shop. I'm just kind of curious of what they got." Horse duty. I wanted one of them chocolates, and I thought, we had to get one step in. And so what he did was wrong. That was deceitful and wrong, and it was intentional. And like that's a sucky thing to do. Now, she should have known better than that. Just as my wife should be like, "You ain't going to that Godiva shop just to like peruse around. You want chocolates." Mm-hmm. This woman should know that about this man and should have said, "No, I'm not going. There's no way that you're going to see this dog." Never, listen to me. In case you're a person who's ever thought this, I'm going to go down to the pound and just take a look. You walking out with the dog, man. There ain't no way you getting out of there without a dog. That's silly. And so, as a fiance, one, you all shouldn't be buying a dog together. I would recommend getting married first before making any of these types of purchases. You're going to complicate your life, which you've done. But I might also suggest that, like, I don't know. This is kind of a key counseling item before I'd walk that aisle. Is like, if this dude is willing to commit you to this type of thing and go, oopsie, like,
Oopsie, I got
Abandon that.
I totally meant to do that. This thing that she's saying though is familiar. Because my wife has said this very same thing. My whole family wanted a dog. We're like, yeah, we wanted, like, well, it's just except for her, because she's not dumb. My wife's a smart person. She goes, you know what's going to happen is you guys are going to all enjoy this dog, and then I'm going to end up, like, cutting its nails and stuff, because no one wants to do that kind of thing. She's totally right. That's exactly what was going to happen. And it is exactly what did happen, as a matter of fact. Now, but my wife willingly, like, broke down and said, I'm going to do this. But the point being is that, like, it is very disingenuous of this man to like, he made the choice. He needs to buck up and handle the situation. But the problem that she's running into here, which is a particularly difficult one, is Mr. I Want a Dog is very easily willing to discard the animal when the responsibility falls on him. But the woman has gotten attached to it.
Yeah.
And so now she feels a way about him maybe getting rid of this dog. So I think at the sum of it, this man has put her in a very difficult position. He has not cared for this woman well. He's been pretty dominantly selfish, and the harmful parties are the lady and the dog, both in this situation.
Yeah. Dawson, what do you think the ultimate goal was when this man was after this dog? Like, what did he really want?
I guess I love dogs.
Yeah.
And when I think of me wanting a dog, I want someone to do things with. I want to have fun with it. I want to take it on walks.
Yep.
Have a friend.
Yeah.
Sounds like all things that's supposed to be coming from your fiance.
Yes. Well, yeah, actually, yes. Very true.
Yep.
Here's what I think. I think you nailed it. I think this dude was like, I want to take a dog out and, like, have fun with it and, like, pet it and stuff. And it'll be my best friend and we'll watch football together. Right? And zero thoughts did he have, like, someone's got to feed this thing. It's going to cost us money. He's just like, man, it's going to be so great for me to have this friend. And then, like, the gal's literally over there going, this is going to cost money.
Even,
And-
like, showed the light on all the things that he was missing.
yeah. And he's like, yeah, I hear your concerns. How much?
Yeah. He's a guy who wants all the benefits without the commitment, like a dude who moves in with his lady without being married.
Oh, he's classic.
I'm just saying.
Oh, he's a classic.
2 for 2, this guy. Now, let's focus. But what's done is done. Here is the difficulty for this lady right here. Is that, like, this is actually fairly easy. You just have to let go of the fact that you can't have both. So, like, you got to decide, do you love this dog enough that you're willing to put up with the extent of which the man is not going to care for it? That's the question. And I hear what you're saying, like, oh, I'm going to worry about it. Oh, but I can't keep going. If you can't keep going, you got to give up the dog. If you can keep going, it's just going to be difficult. Well, then that's what you're going to do. I know it sounds real hard, but it's because you can often get under the impression, and this does tend to be the ladies who've got this particular, men are just simple, dumb to a certain extent, but more straightforward. Women tend to be able to hold on to two things, and they think if they can just wrestle with it long enough that they'll find a good answer. And there isn't one in here. Your boyfriend's not just going to magically change. You're not going to suddenly stop loving the dog, and the difficulty of managing the dog is not going to all of a sudden go away. You tried. You actually tried. You tried to find the dog sitter.
They hired a daycare.
Yeah,
a doggy daycare.
I'm just saying, like, there is no
hilarious.
there's not a magic answer in here. Like, you're in a tough spot, and you're just going to have to figure out what you can live with. But I'm telling you, it's not a brain teaser. There's not a magic answer. You're just going to have to. You got to weigh it out and just pick one.
I'm only going to submit that there's a little bit of vagary in here, right? When it says, life from the path, I resent him for this.
Yes.
We're both overloaded. I don't know why.
He doesn't. I don't think he's overloaded. She's being generous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're overloaded and now have another full-time responsibility plus extra bills. I assume that's in reference to the dog.
Yeah.
We love Butch, but are overwhelmed. I would be miserable giving him away, which is what my fiance now suggests. So this is classic dude behavior.
Yeah.
Like, okay, get rid of the dog then. If it's going to cause all much this strife, I want it gone. I don't want to be arguing with you about this. I'll solve this problem.
Yeah.
Out the dog goes.
Mr. Problem Solver here.
Yeah, Mr. He's a gypsy wagon.
Problem maker and then problem solver.
That's right. I brought the problem and I'll fix the problem.
Yeah.
I can make impact coming and going.
Snake Oil Steve.
Yeah, seriously. So, like, yeah, this should be this is why we I'll be very careful on who we spend our time with, ladies, and very careful who we like hand over parts of our life to. This man brought the problem, and then he is trying to arbitrarily fix it with no empathy for now what he's caused, which is you've now fallen in love with the dog. His plan kind of succeeded for being as much of a dullard as he is. You know what I'm saying? He got you to love it, and now it's like the dog has to go out, and he's like, can you take the dog out? You're like, no, you know? And like, what's going to happen when y'all have kids? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Does he really want a family too someday? Because I'd be like, oh, if that's how this is going to work, yeah, no thanks. You know what I'm saying? So like, ultimately the question is, what do you do? I think my advice would be, it's like, you got to figure out how to not be your own protagonist, right? Like she's basically arguing both sides of her point. And so like, the right answer is to probably get rid of the dog, to be honest with you, or get rid of him, keep the dog and move to an apartment and then buy it a kennel. You don't have to put it in daycare. They're like, other people might not treat it as well as we do. Well, here's the thing. There's other kids that are treated better than the ones that live at my house, but this is how my house runs. You know what I'm saying? Other people have name brand whatevers. Our kids have this because they live here. And so the truth is like, yeah, maybe the dog, quotes, deserves doggy daycare, but like my dog sleeps in a kennel when I'm not home because the dog eats things if I don't put him in the kennel. So the dog earned some of the kennel, and I just brought the opportunity for not to put it in daycare. So like, I think there's you got to pull your thoughts out of the clouds a little bit here, right? Like stop over dramatizing the life of a dog, and like he's happy to be in your company. Get some of the costs down to see if it's actually reasonable and if you actually want to keep the dog. If you can't afford it and you don't have time for it, then do the loving thing and hand it over to somebody that will. I think that's the long and short of it. Do you feel like once you've adopted a dog, you've taken responsibility for it lifetime? You can't give it back. No good.
I would feel like that, but I know quite a few people who've like took a dog and then like, and then gave it back.
I'd give away both my dogs right now.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't love them. We put them in a kennel. We had a staycation. We stayed home for a week. It told everybody no, we're not doing things. And I'm like, we should put the dogs in a kennel so the dogs aren't even here. And I thought 3 days in, I'll be missing them. Never happened. I regretted having to go pick them back up. I'm like, man. And then they were here today when I got home from work, and they wanted to go out 6 times, and they were hungry, and then they were barking at the Amazon guy, and I'm like, how much was that kennel a week? Maybe I can just wait them out for their deaths. And I thought, these dogs deserve more love than I'm currently offering.
Is it just these two? Like, have you had dogs in the past where you'd be like, I can't wait to see that dog?
Yes.
Yeah. It's just
100%.
these two ruffians.
It's the Amish one and that one we picked up from out of state.
Yeah.
They
I've
suckered
never
me in.
had like a stone cold pet before. Like we had a bunny as a kid that I really liked, and we've had fish. I love looking at fish. That one's a fun one. But you don't name and walk a fish. You just have
Not
them
more
look
than
at.
once.
It's like it's like a nice plant you have, or a nice painting.
Come on, Carl.
But-
Carl.
We're going out for a swim in the pool. But I feel like I would get more attached than that.
Yeah.
I have never had like a full-time dog or like
That was
even our
your
cats.
dog.
Yeah, there was nothing like that. Our family's never had them. We've had cats to keep the mice away.
Yeah.
But we live on a highway, so you know how long those last.
Yeah. You get used to that.
You get used to the death part and them walking away without you saying goodbye.
Yeah.
So having an active choice, I don't know.
Yeah. Like you picked the dog. You went and looked. You picked it. You brought it home. You took like all responsibility for it. It basically feels like you made this dog a promise.
Yeah.
When you adopted it, that like you're with me, even if you're terrible. Yeah.
It's like, if we're not going to be friends, we're going to be at least enemies, and we're going to like it.
Yeah. That's right. But either way, we're in relationship, dog, because
Yeah.
I took responsibility for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So So what was your advice, Dawson?
I'd say keep it. I was going to say, yeah, weigh the options, but if you can manage to do it and it just sucks for a little bit, I'd keep it around.
Dump the fiance. You're saying.
I actually think she should dump the fiance. I like the resentment part is the hardest part. So like there's practical. You either keep the dog or don't let the dog go, or whatever. I think that's either one is probably fine in this particular situation. Someone else will love the dog. I think the major problem is like, is this a trustworthy man? Do you like the dog is an impactful situation? There's another 50 impactful situations coming up. If he does not have the ability to react to this and recognize what he's done, I don't know that I would feel confident walking into the next 50 years of your life with this dude.
Wow. I mean, he made one mistake with the dog.
Well, the question is, and this is where it's unfair.
At the beginning, and then 20 other mistakes after that.
Yeah.
He's still doing it though. He didn't go, you know what? I got us in this pickle. I got Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll make sure the dog's taken care of. Yeah, he's like, oh, I know how to solve this. Give the dog away.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so he had the option to step up, and he decided to get rid of the dog so he didn't have to do his responsibility.
Yeah, and that may be honest, because he's like, I definitely am just not going to do the things that we're saying, and so we don't have any choice but to get rid of the dog. That might be the situation. The question is that a situation that you want to perpetuate for the next 50 years? You don't have to split up with them. I'd stop living together and maybe get this kind of thing worked out before you proceed any further.
I don't disagree. Secular says, why do you think another family would not appreciate Butch and treat him as well as you have? If he is sensitive and sweet, is housebroken, and has been taught basic manners during the time he has been with you, he might find a very loving home. Hopefully one with children he can play with. Boy, it's all just wine and roses over at Secular's house. Contact pet rescue groups in your area and explain the situation, and you may be pleasantly surprised. And the next time your fiancé pulls his money out and puts it on the counter when you have told him you don't want something, tell him to put it back.
Good one.
Tell him to put it back.
That's it?
The woman, she did that though. She goes, it's not the right time for us. And this
He took it back and he bought the dog. He got much.
Like while she's standing there, it's like, I hear what you're saying, babe. We'll take it.
Yeah, here's the thing. This is how you know people. Like when I tell my wife, hey, do you want to go look at some car lots? She's like, for what? I'm like, I don't know, just to see what's out there. She's like, no, we're not buying a car. I'm like, I'm not buying a car. I just want to see what's out there.
Yeah.
She's like, yo, okay. We don't go look at cars.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't go checking out stuff. Here's the problem. If we're ever in agreement or in a point of weakness, like me and the woman, we spend money, right? When we get together and like we're feeling particularly low or both in like some kind of subversive attitude, that's how we end up with patio furniture we can't afford. You know what I'm saying? We're like, we deserve this. And then all of a sudden, we're 22 years old with a credit card payment for stupid patio furniture that's worth more than the house we live in. And our cars won't start. But by God, we got the patio furniture problem solved. And so, like, yeah, you got to meet somebody that's gonna be your balance here. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, agreed.
Okay, last one.
Okay.
Dear Live from the Path, our new neighbors have been out of town for several weeks, and their newspapers keep piling up outside their home. We don't know them well enough to have their contact information to ask if they need help with the newspapers. At what point can we pick them up and place them in our recycling bin?
Right now. Fire that up.
You don't have their contact information.
All right, Mr. HOA. I don't know.
Dude, you know what house they live in. What's the problem? They also know that they've been out of town for several weeks. It seems like you know all the facts necessary to take care of this paper situation.
Or whatever. Like if you don't even have to put them in your recycle bin if you want to. If you want to like get them in a sack and hold them at your place. Like if you're real cautious about it, like hold on to it for another week or two or whatever, and then that's fine. But like either let it go, either ignore it, put it in a sack, or just go dump it in there. Here's the thing. They don't know you either. They're not going to know it was you.
Oh, that ring doorbell will tell on you.
Oh, well, then I would go up and put my face in it and say, hey, bro, I think I'm helping you out, that you're not going to go back and read all these newspapers. Here's a pre-apology in case I'm wrong, but just know that on record that I think I'm doing the right thing, but I'm going to dump all these. Thanks, homie. Then I'll be out.
Would this even bother you?
No.
I don't think if I had this occurrence in my life, I don't think I'd think about it enough to go make a post about it.
No.
Or ask some people here
I mean,
to put their input on it.
How tall is their grass? Do you know what I'm saying? Like the place has got to look like the Panama down there, right? Like there's nothing but newspapers and 6-foot grass. And you're like, something got to be done about these newspapers. Like if they paid someone to take care of the lawn, shouldn't they have been grabbing these? Who's getting their mail? Their mailbox should be overflowing with letters, just vomiting out of the box. Like this is an odd thing to focus on. If you already know they're out of town for several weeks, and the papers are just piling up, I would only use it as an indication that like maybe you're not okay in there. But if I already know that you're on vacation, I'd be like, I don't know, that's a natural progression of someone not being here to grab the paper. The paper remains. It's just kind of regular. Okay. So overall, the opinion is, Dawson, you'd be like, I'm not even concerned about this. I would let them pile.
I'd let them pile. I care about my lawn, how it looks.
Yeah.
Or at least I know I will.
Yeah.
For the way I mow other people's lawns.
Yeah, 'cause
But
you're
like,
not-
or even like the front of my house. But like if it's another person's house, I mean, that just makes my house look
I mean,
better.
it's a temporary problem, you know?
Yeah. They're going to be back.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're even saving him that much work. Like if he came home and was like, crap, I forgot about the paper. It's probably a 6-minute fix.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'd let that go unless you're real persnickety about it. And then, just leave a note. I thought I was doing a good thing. Sorry if I didn't.
Who possibly comes home from 3 weeks being gone and goes, I'd like that paper from 2.5 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
I'd like to read that.
I want to know what's up. It's already happened, dude. It's already done. Secular says, newspapers piled in front of a house are like an invitation to an open house. Your neighbors should have called the newspaper before they left and told them they wanted their newspaper held till they returned. It would be kind of you to pick the papers up and save them for your neighbors rather than dispose of them.
Yeah, I mean, the Titanic should have stayed in England, but I mean, the ship it sailed, man.
It does seem weird. I didn't think about like the prowler angle, but like if you have a bunch of papers piled up in front of your house, a burglar knows, hey, there's no one home.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they know you're out of town. So like it would probably be the neighborly thing to do to at least just get them off the porch.
Yeah,
When you
pick
go
'em
pick
up.
up your paper, just go grab theirs, store it off to the side. If they come home, you're like, hey man, I know this is weird, but I saved all your papers. I didn't know if you actually cared or whatever. And he's like, no, I appreciate you doing that. It's like, I just didn't want people knowing you weren't home, so they, you probably might even make a friend in the exchange.
Yeah.
Instead of asking the newspaper people, like, hey, how do I handle this interaction with a person? Right? A couple thoughts that have got you there, Dang. Okay, that's it, right? Done?
That's it.
Okay.
Hey, you're listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I realized that I said the phrase big ass Bible earlier, and I apologize for that. It stuck with me.
You know, I had to hold it as a kid.
Did you really?
I was a
part of-
server in the Catholic Church. And during the service, I would have to hold the Bible.
How long?
Oh, a decent amount of time.
Like a decent amount.
Was it
Enough for
pretty
him to
heavy?
read. Oh, yeah, he's sitting there praying over the congregation. I'm just standing there like,
Oh man, as a kid too, I'd
yeah.
especially have a
So
hard time. I'm like, wrap it up, Vicar.
remember Twig Dawson holding up this giant Bible. Ah! And they have you hold it the most uncomfortable way. So like all 4 of my strong fingers are underneath the Bible, and then my thumbs are holding it up so he can read it.
Get my strong fingers to the Lord. Okay, I didn't think about this, but the advantage of being in a Catholic church under such a situation, because if you were at a certain Protestant church and they're like, okay, everyone, we're just going to pray, and whoever feels like praying can go ahead and pray, and then the Bible hold up guys like, oh no, we're going to be here for half hour. I can't we buy a stand?
Anyway, you got 2 reactions. You can either respond on the Live from the Path complaint line, 515-517-0085, or you can start a trend on the old X/Twitter, #BigAssBible.
Are we on Threads?
No.
What's that?
It's like the Facebook.
I know it's the up and comer.
Yeah. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think it's catching on.
What is
I also still don't maintain any of our social media.
Do you have any? Okay, quick question. Do you have any consistent Jesus-related podcasts that you listen to?
Yes. Well, I would say, the closest thing that comes to it is the Bible Project. I read there's a Q&A with N.T. Wright that I'll listen to that one a lot because you can get in and out of things in a relatively quick fashion. There's also, if you want to be a real nerdlinger about it, the Michael Heiser podcast is real good.
It even sounds like a dude you'd listen to.
Yeah, he wrote the book The Unseen Realm. He's like a Hebrew scholar and super. It's a lot of Old Testament stuff. Super interesting.
And if you're not 50, I'm going to give my answer, and that's the Bryce Crawford podcast.
Yeah. You like the Bryce Crawford podcast?
I do really
Does he
like
have
it.
guests on?
All the time, and that's my favorite because I love testimonial things, people telling me about their story. That does so much work in my eyes. And so when he has people on, I absolutely love that. Those are my favorite episodes, actually. I think he's great on his own, but he does really well flowing off of people.
Does Wes Huff do his own podcast? I've only listened to him when he's been on other podcasts.
I think Apologetics Canada, which is where he's with, I think they have one, but I think he's like not always on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I listen to I'll catch. I always listen to a back episode of Life in the Path usually, and then I don't miss with the Perrys with Jackie Hill Perry and her husband Preston Perry. In fact they had a couple really good shows here the last couple weeks that I thought was really worth listening to. Plus they fight like a married couple sometimes, and it's my absolute favorite. It just reminds me that they're real people.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
That one I was talking about, by the way, is called the Naked Bible podcast
With Michael Heiser?
Yes, he died like a few years ago. The funny thing though is he's got like a co-host who isn't like a Bible scholar. He's just like a guy to facilitate bringing on the real Bible scholar, except he's super Southern, and so he says naked. He like, you listen to the Naked Bible podcast. It's so good. It's so good. Which is interesting because like this Ask NT Wright Anything podcast also has a dude who's like from Australia who also doesn't feel like he's a Bible scholar of any means. Like he's like the common man -2, but just a super interesting dude. Anyway, I'll leave that to you. Okay, I played through the same tune multiple times, and I'm going to have to cut you loose. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We really do appreciate it. Hit us up on the complaint line, 515-517-0085. Call or text. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live